Most of our favorite childhood movies come from powerhouse studios we all know, like Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks. But what if I told you that one of our favorite magical and nostalgic childhood movies, yes, I mean our favorite, came from a studio almost no one has ever heard of, L'Atelier Animation. There's a good chance that if you clicked on this video, you watched this movie growing up. That was true for me too. I watched it years ago with my siblings, expecting nothing more than a fun way to pass the time. But when the credits rolled, it felt like my eyes had just witnessed magic. And every time I've revisited it over the years, it never felt boring or just,
it's all right.
Somehow, it always stayed a masterpiece.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
So today, I want to talk about why Leap, or Ballerina, feels so magical, and how a tiny, relatively unknown studio managed to create such an unforgettable film. First, we have to go back to 2012. At the time, L'Atelier Animation wasn't some household name. They were a relatively small studio trying to prove they could stand alongside animation giants like Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks. Leap, originally titled Ballerina, became that chance. For the next several years, the team poured everything into bringing the film to life. They worked alongside professional dancers from the Paris Opera Ballet to make every movement feel authentic, recreated 1880s Paris, and pushed themselves to create a level of animation that few people expected from a studio of their size. And when you think about it, that's kind of fitting, because just like Félicie spends the entire movie chasing a dream everyone tells her is impossible, L'Atelier Animation was chasing one of its own, proving that a small, unknown studio could create something truly magical. And to understand why this movie feels so magical, we have to start with the person at the heart of it all, Félicie. From the very beginning, the movie doesn't introduce us to some gifted prodigy who's destined for greatness. It introduces us to an orphan, a little girl with no parents, no money, no connections, and somehow the biggest dream in the entire country. She dreams of becoming a ballerina at the Paris Opera. And if you know anything about ballet, you know that's basically like saying you want to play in the NBA after growing up without ever touching a basketball. On paper, her dream is impossible. That's what makes Félicie so easy to root for. She isn't special because she's the best dancer. She isn't even close. She's clumsy, inexperienced, and constantly reminded that people like her don't belong in places like the Paris Opera. Yet every time life knocks her down, she somehow finds the strength to stand back up. And that's where I think Leap separates itself from most underdog stories. Most underdog movies are about proving everyone else wrong. This one feels different. It's about refusing to let your circumstances decide who you're allowed to become. Félicie wasn't born into wealth. She wasn't handed opportunities. She wasn't told the world was waiting for her. If anything, the world kept giving her reasons to give up. But she never did. And honestly, I think that's why so many of us connected with her as kids. We probably didn't understand every deeper theme back then. We just saw a girl who refused to stop believing. And somehow, that was enough to make us believe right alongside her. But as inspiring as Félicie's journey is, she never had to chase that dream alone. She had Victor. Now, one of Victor's greatest achievements wasn't helping Félicie escape the orphanage. It was somehow convincing my 7-year-old self that chickens could actually fly.
I call them chicken wings!
Like, why did I genuinely believe that? This movie had me looking at every chicken like it was hiding its true potential. But jokes aside, Victor is one of the most important characters in the entire movie. While Félicie dreams of becoming a ballerina, Victor dreams of becoming an inventor. He's constantly building weird gadgets, creating ridiculous ideas, and somehow turning complete chaos into actual solutions. He's the kind of friend every dreamer needs. When Félicie starts doubting herself, Victor is there. When she needs someone to believe in her, Victor is there. And when everything starts falling apart, somehow, he's still there. That's what makes their friendship feel so genuine. It's not just about helping Félicie achieve her dream. It's about two kids who have spent their entire lives struggling, finally finding someone who believes they can become something more. And honestly, that reminds me of growing up with my siblings. This movie was so good that we literally started pretending to be ballerinas and arguing over who had the better performance, even though none of us knew the first thing about ballet. Looking back, it's hilarious. But that's the magic of Leap. It didn't just make us watch Félicie's dream. For a little while, it made it feel like it was ours too. And that's exactly when the movie does something I think is genuinely genius. The moment Félicie and Victor arrive in Paris, everything changes. The world suddenly feels bigger. The streets feel alive. The colors become warmer. The music swells. Even the camera moves with this sense of wonder, almost like it's dancing alongside the characters. Why? Because we're not seeing Paris through the eyes of tourists. We're seeing it through two orphaned kids who've spent their entire lives dreaming about a world they never thought they'd reach. And somehow, L'Atelier Animation makes us feel that exact same wonder. It isn't trying to impress you with how realistic every frame looks. It's trying to make you feel something. And then we're introduced to Odette. At first, she seems like another strict mentor. But the more you watch, the more you realize she's carrying a story of her own. Long before Félicie arrived, Odette had a dream just like hers. She had the talent. She had the passion. And then, in an instant, it was taken away. That's what makes their relationship so beautiful. Odette teaches Félicie how to become a better dancer. But Félicie gives Odette something she thought she lost forever. Hope. Hope that dreams don't always end because one chapter of your life does. Sometimes, the people who inspire us the most are the ones who forgot how to believe in themselves. And then there's Camille. Or, as my younger self probably would have said, yeah, I don't like you. But looking back, I don't actually think Camille was the villain. Her mother was. Félicie dances because she wants to. Camille dances because she has to. Every step she takes comes with pressure. She has to be perfect. She has to win. She has to become exactly what her mother expects. That's not a dream. That's pressure. And honestly, that's what makes Camille more interesting. Because she's not just someone standing in Félicie's way. She's another person trapped by expectations. Then there's Morant. At first, he seems like the type of teacher who smiles once every leap year. He's strict, brutally honest, and somehow has the ability to make every student question every decision they've ever made. But that's exactly why he's such a great mentor. He doesn't care where you came from. He doesn't care about your background. He cares about one thing: whether you can tell a story when you dance. And that's why Félicie earns his respect. She isn't the strongest dancer. She isn't the most experienced. But every time she steps onto the stage, you understand exactly why she's dancing. And after everything Félicie has been through, we finally arrive at the moment the entire movie has been building toward: the final dance. On the surface, it's a competition: Félicie versus Camille. But the more you think about it, this was never really about who could do the most impressive moves. It was about one question:
Why do you dance?
Félicie dances because it's a part of who she is. It's connected to her mother, the music box she left behind, and the memory of someone who believed in her before anyone else did. That music box isn't just a toy. It's a reminder of where her dream came from. Every time Félicie feels like giving up, she isn't just remembering ballet. She's remembering why she started. And then there's Camille. For the first time, we understand that she's not fighting Félicie. She's fighting the life she's been forced into. Félicie is dancing to find herself. Camille is dancing because she feels like she has to. And that's why this scene works so well. The animation isn't just showing two people dancing. It's showing two completely different emotions. Camille's movements are controlled and precise. But Félicie's movements have something different. They have freedom. They have passion. They have a story. And this is where L'Atelier Animation truly shines. Because they didn't just animate ballet, they animated a feeling. Every leap, every spin, every movement feels like Félicie is finally letting go of every fear that held her back. The studio worked with professional dancers from the Paris Opera Ballet to capture the details of real ballet. And you can feel that dedication in every frame. But the reason this scene stays with people isn't just because it looks beautiful. It's because we understand what Félicie is fighting for. She's not fighting to prove she's better than Camille. She's fighting to prove that the little girl who once had nothing was always capable of something extraordinary. And when the dance ends, Félicie doesn't just change her own life. She changes everyone around her. She reminds Mirante why passion matters. She helps Odette believe in dreams again. She shows Camille that her life doesn't have to be controlled by someone else's expectations. And she proves to everyone watching that sometimes the impossible dream is the one worth chasing the most. And honestly, after talking about everything this movie represents, I just hope I'm doing it justice. Because Leap wasn't just another animated movie I watched as a kid. It was one of those movies that quietly became part of my childhood. And I think a lot of us have movies like that. The movies we watched after school, the movies we watched with our siblings, the movies that made us laugh, made us dream, and somehow stayed with us years after we first saw them. There are so many films that became pillars of our childhood. Movies that weren't just something we watched, they were experiences we grew up with. And for me, Leap was one of those movies. It's almost impossible to watch this movie again without feeling a little nostalgic. Actually, don't just take my word for it. Just watch this. Tell me you didn't just feel a wave of nostalgia. Because that's the magic of Leap. It didn't need to be made by the biggest animation studio in the world. It didn't need the biggest budget. It didn't need to be the loudest movie in the room. All it needed was a story about a girl who refused to give up, a friend who believed in her, and a small studio that dared to chase a dream of its own. And maybe that's why this movie has stayed with so many of us. Because at its core, Leap isn't just about ballet. It's about believing that where you start doesn't determine where you can end up. It's about finding the people who believe in you. And it's about remembering that sometimes the dreams that seem impossible are the ones that make life feel magical. So thank you, Leap. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the childhood moments. And thank you to L'Atelier Animation for taking a shot on a big dream and making our childhood feel truly magical.